If you have ever struggled with closing sales calls or ever really felt nervous for sales calls, then this is the episode for you. In this episode, I'm walking you through how I went from feeling totally scared of sales calls to the point of just wanting to call it quits to now currently loving sales calls and having a closing rate of 70%, which is way higher than the industry standard. By now, I'm sure you're probably wondering, well, what changed? And the truth is that there was one shift that I made that absolutely transformed the way I approach sales calls that has really contributed to this newfound love for them and also contributed to my high closing rate. And I cannot wait to share it with you. So that being said, let's go ahead and dive right into the episode. Now, before we get into the episode, we are actually celebrating the rebrand and the 1-year anniversary of this podcast. So we are doing something extra special. And it's actually that I am giving away 2 incredible prizes. So make sure that you tune in to learn what they are and how you can win. Now, like I said, there are 2 prizes. One person will win the first prize and another person will win the second prize. So the first prize is $50 in cash money that I will be sending someone via PayPal or Venmo. And the second prize is a full scholarship to my recently launched signature course, Faith Fueled Coach Academy. Yes, a full scholarship to the course. I literally cannot believe that I'm doing it, but I am. So if you want to learn more about the course, just to see if it's something that you would love, be sure to check out www.hannahbrindley.com/FCA. And that will also be linked in the show notes for you. Now, that being said, I'm sure you're probably wondering, well, how can I win? It's simple. There's only 2 steps. First, leave a rating and review of this podcast over on Apple Podcasts. It's that simple. If you've already left a review on Apple Podcasts, then you are good to go. Now, second, take a screenshot of either your review or take a screenshot of you listening to this show and tag me in your story over on Instagram while you share your thoughts on the show. And in case you didn't already know, my handle on Instagram is @HannahBrindley, and that's also going to be in the show notes for you. Please note that when you leave a review and when you tag me on Instagram the first time, that gets you 1 entry in to win the prizes. But every single tag that you tag me in after that is an entry in to win the prizes as well. So you can literally share about this podcast 10 times if you want, and it will literally give you an entry every single time. Just make sure you tag me or else I won't know. So please share as much as you feel led to. Now that said, in order to be eligible to win, you must complete these tasks before 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday, March 3rd, 2023. And that's it, friends. It is super simple. Just leave a review of the show and then take a screenshot of the podcast or the review, post it on Instagram stories and tag me. And you can do that as much as you feel led to. Now, that being said, I hope you are so excited. I hope that you're just as excited as I am because I'm just so pumped to just be celebrating this rebrand with you and just being here and podcasting for a year. Truly can't even believe it. But all of that to say, let's go ahead and get into the show. Hey Queen, welcome to Call to CEO. I'm your host, Hannah Brindley, daughter of the King, certified life coach, and faith-fueled business mentor. I know you are so sick of feeling like you work so hard in your business with little to no reward while staying in the same cycle of self-sabotaging tendencies you know are keeping you stuck. And because of that, I know you are craving to end this never-ending cycle of self-destruction and cultivate a thriving, Holy Spirit-led business without letting it become your idol. If you are ready to be fueled by faith over flesh, fight your battles spiritually instead of physically, take bold and obedient action on your God-given call to CEO, and finally create that thriving, faith-fueled business, then you are in the right place. So go ahead and grab your favorite sparkling beverage, grab a notebook and pen, and let's dive in. Okay, friends, after you leave a review and you tag me over on Instagram, I want you to just listen up. At the beginning of my coaching journey, I used to get so nervous to get on sales calls. You know, I actually remember the very first time someone said yes to getting on a sales call with me. I was in a coffee shop in San Diego, passing the time as I waited to catch my flight back home because I was currently in San Diego for an in-person mastermind to help me launch my coaching business. But, you know, the point of the story is that when I received that message, it was on Facebook, I received a message that someone actually wanted to get on a sales call with me. I literally started panicking, okay? I remember being in this coffee shop with tears rolling down my face, and I had debilitating anxiety in that moment. I did not respond to this person for hours because I was convinced I was probably going to say, never mind, I'm actually not going to pursue this because, it's just not for me. Guys, I am so serious when I say this. I'm dead serious. I really thought in that moment I wasn't going to follow through with it because I was that afraid. Even though I spent all this money on a mastermind to help me do it and to launch it, I was just going to stop. I was just going to up and quit. I got that scared. And I say this to say that I know some of you listening to this might be dealing with some sort of fear or anxiety or nervousness around sales calls as well. And I want you to know that you are not alone. You are not alone in this. I was terrified, as you can tell. I was in a coffee shop crying and was thinking, oh my goodness, what did I do? Why did I come here? Why did I come to this mastermind? Why did I decide to launch this business? I was freaking out. I really was. And, that said, that is so different to how I am today. Because today, I love sales calls. I said it. I love sales calls. I thoroughly enjoy them. And obviously, that has not always been the case. So the question is, what changed? And to answer that question, there was really only one major shift that happened that totally changed my perspective of sales calls, but also totally transformed them and led me to having a 70% closing rate, which is quite high compared to industry standards. So what is it then? What was the one shift? And guys, it is honestly so simple. I started approaching sales calls as if the person on the sales call was already my client. Let me repeat that. Approach your sales calls as if they are already a client. I told you it was simple, but it is truly so effective. Think about it. How would you act on a call if they were already a client? It immediately takes the pressure off, and you can actually start showing up as the leader you are because you aren't so concerned about how the call is going to go. If you approach it like they're already your client, you aren't going to hold back. And I truly think a lot of people go into sales calls holding back because they've been taught that they don't need to coach or give advice on a sales call. And personally, I just think that's a load of baloney. I'm just going to say it. I just think it's a load of baloney, but, I'm not saying, Go make your sales call a full-on coaching session. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I'm saying is that if you are feeling led to share something with them, but you have felt in the past that you're not quote unquote supposed to, because you're not quote unquote supposed to coach on a sales call, I just want you to just ignore that. And I just want you to follow your gut and just share what the Holy Spirit is prompting you to share. The truth is, I kind of made my own rules when it comes to sales calls. And like I said, I have a 70% closing rate on sales calls, and I don't do them by industry standards because I have chosen to approach the call like they're already my client. In addition, there's actually something else that is an industry standard with sales calls that I do not follow because of this approach that I have. And when I tell you what it is, you're probably going to be like, what in the world? But it's that my sales calls are 90 minutes long. I do not have 30-minute sales calls or 45-minute discovery calls. I don't even do an hour. I do 90 minutes. And the reason is because I do not want to feel rushed on a sales call, and I don't want my potential client to feel rushed on a sales call. And the truth is, it's so important to showcase the kind of love, the kind of support, and the kind of service they are actually going to receive from you when they do start working with you. This 90-minute sales call is almost like a taste of what it would be like to work with me one-on-one, which is, again, why I don't hold back. It's not a full-on coaching session by any means, but my intention for that call is not necessarily to sell them. It's for them to have a breakthrough whether or not they decide to work with me. I want them to walk away, leaving them feeling fulfilled and feeling excited for their next steps. And that is how I approach sales calls. And the thing is, I understand why people do 30-minute sales calls. I get it. You don't want to give them too much information. You don't have enough time to be on a 90-minute sales call because, what if they don't sign up, etc. I get it. But I just can't get to know a person in 30 minutes. And if I'm going to work with someone intimately in one-on-one coaching, which is what I ultimately do sales calls for, I want to take the time to get to know them, and I just can't do that in 30 minutes. Also, the proof is in the pudding, my friend. My closing rate is 70%. Why would I change that? Because someone told me not to do 90-minute sales calls. Because I truly believe my closing rate might be, a little above average, which 30% is around the average, by the way, and so I truly believe that if I cut that time, it might be closer to average. I mean, I really don't know because I haven't tested it, but right now it's at 70%. Why would I cut it in half if my closing rate is higher than industry standards? You know what I mean? So that said, I have coached a lot of people through their sales calls, and they are always so surprised at the results because they start closing sales. And it's truly so incredible to witness. I just love seeing that so much, which is exactly why it's something I cover for you inside of my signature course, Faith Fueled Coach Academy. Now, listen, if you are feeling led to finally start or scale your Holy Spirit-led coaching business, FCA is for you, my friend. I have successfully scaled my coaching business to 6 figures, and I did it with one-on-one coaching, by the way, not with group coaching, not with courses. It was just one-on-one coaching, okay? And I scaled my business to 6 figures with one-on-one coaching without launching, and I'm sharing all of that knowledge with you inside of FCA. Now, like I said, if you are feeling led to grow your business, then definitely check out FCA. And you can do that by going to www.hannahbrindley.com/FCA, which Also reminds me, do not forget about the giveaway. A free scholarship to FCA is at stake. So please go ahead and leave a review on Apple Podcasts if you haven't already, and take a screenshot of that review. Or if you're listening to this show, take a screenshot of that and post it on Instagram stories. And just don't forget to tag me because it won't count. So don't forget to tag me. So all that to say, I will see you in the next episode. Bye, friend. Hey, CEO, don't head out just yet. If this podcast has blessed you in some way, it would mean the absolute world to me if you left a rating and written review of the show. It truly lights a fire in me knowing how God has impacted you through this platform. And since I absolutely adore connecting with you, please, please, please screenshot this episode or your review and post it on your stories and tag me over on Instagram at Hannah Brindley. I cannot wait to see you over there. So much love to you.